Hello, everybody. It's me, Roscoe, and welcome to the latest instalment of the Kings of Anglia Fan Social, live on all platforms. Well, all the platforms we can be live on: Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and YouTube. I'll discuss all things Town. And obviously, it's not been a great week, has it? 3 straight defeats by 1 goal. Obviously, the 1-0 defeat at Forest, 1-0 defeat at Palace, and obviously the 2-1 late defeat against Bournemouth. Not going to cover that too much, but we've got some set pieces. I'm also going to look ahead to Wolves, which is the next trip for Town. Get involved in the comments, share your thoughts, your feelings, how you are overall. Hope you all had a good week. I'm now going to bring in the 2 gentlemen that are joining me. We're going to start off with Bainesy, who has been a regular on this Fan Social journey for the last 5 years. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good. Yeah, we were just reflecting before on how long this has been going. Yeah, it's mental. Obviously, KOA 500. I haven't listened to it yet because I'm going to listen to it tomorrow on the way to Wolves. And obviously, how long the Fan Social's been going on for. It's fantastic community you've built, Roscoe. But yeah, all good. Getting into festive spirit. Had my daughter's Christmas play yesterday, all in Welsh. So about 1% of it I understood, but it's very good. And then went to my son's nursery and had some hot chocolate and mince pie. So yeah, feeling very festive. Santa is all sorted, I think, barring any last minute additions from the 5-year-old. But yeah, very much looking forward to the big day.
That's good to hear, my friend. And let's bring in a Dayberton. He's made appearances on game day, but this is his first ever Fan Social. And that's Jamie, who we've got a nice little story, Jamie, haven't we? Welcome to the show. We first met in Munich, in Germany, at a train station, trying to find out where we could get this train to Austria. But yeah, that was great. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, thanks, mate. Good to see you. Thanks for asking me to be on here tonight. It was actually not as romantic as you're probably making it sound. I think we were lost, weren't we? There was four of us trying to find our way to the sports arena in Munich, but we helped each other out and we found it, which was good. So yeah, the weather's a bit different actually now, isn't it? I think it was roasting hot that day when we went there to the pre-season game.
I think I remember actually saying, have you got sunscreen? Because I think I forgot to put some on. And I think I asked your other half and said, you got any? And I don't think she had any. I think she left it obviously in the hotel room. So I was fearing that I'm going to absolutely burn myself. But thankfully I didn't. I looked after myself. But yeah, that was an experience. But you all ready for Christmas, Jamie, yet? Or are you still early?
Well, I'd like to say yes, but the truth to the answer, or to the question, I should say, is no. Just thinking about how many days are left, I was saying to my Mrs. Defay earlier that we've probably got a week to sort everything out. So next week it will be all hands to the pump, make sure that this time next week we're there and ready to go. But at the moment, just focusing on going to watch Ipswich at Wolves tomorrow.
Yeah, bring it on. Yeah, I'm not on very much lastminute.com, which I'm sure doesn't surprise everybody. I've got a few presents so far. Once again, no one tells me what they want. I always ask them, what do you want? I know I should be creative and think, but just let me know what you want and I can try to sort something out. But every time I go, oh, what do you like for Christmas? Even like my mum, I'm just like, what do you like, mum? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I was like, doesn't help. But yeah, won't get into that. But yeah, getting involved in the chat. We've already got one message from Neil Setterfield. Have to win tomorrow, otherwise relegation is almost certain. We'll get onto that shortly, Neil. We'll talk about how we're feeling, but 15 games in so far. Also, Rabbit 60. Really enjoyed KOA 500, and yeah, it was very good to do that show. It was very long, but going back, through Nostalgia Park and all that, bringing Mike Bacon and good old Hutchie, Andy Warren back on the show. But yeah, boys, we're gonna talk about something maybe a bit negative, but it's a good talking point. It's become a massive debate this week, especially after the Bournemouth game, and that is sadly on Arrow Muric, who obviously Town's number one, signed this summer from Burnley for a good amount of money, £8 million, I think it was. Has had some good moments, but it's had some bad moments. Obviously, on his debut against Man City, he cost us some goals, but obviously it was the reigning champions, Man City, and we took the early lead in that game. I don't think any of us expected, but yeah, that was a 4-1 defeat. But then he's had okay games. Brighton, he saved us so many points in that game, or he saved a lot of goals, and it gave us that 1 point there. And obviously, he's had a few other moments. The Brentford game as well. But I want to see where Bainesy and Jamie are at with Arrow Muric, because the big talking point is, should he be dropped? And the good thing, in the green room, Jamie and Bainesy are asking that question, and they're both got different answers to this. So we're going to start with Bainesy. You are for him to stay in the sticks. Let us know why. Your argument, my friend.
I am. It's become a bit difficult recently because I've backed him a lot. but then he, like Bournemouth, he does have those rushes of blood to the head. All I can think is to liken him is like David James, maybe Calamity James. So he'd pull off lots of great saves, but he'd have these crazy moments where he come right out of his goal. It's a really difficult one. It's a lonely position, goalkeeper. If you make an error, that's it. More than likely, it's going to result in a goal against you. But I think overall, on balance, I'd like to keep him in. I mean, if we look at the other stuff I've seen on social media in the last week or so, the first one, which I want to discount straight away, we should have given Hladky what he wanted. Give him a blank piece of paper. I don't agree with that. I think personally, the reason why they partly didn't take him up is because one, he'd never played the Prem game, and two, he was probably asking a bit too much for the experience he had. And three, he's not even starting for Burnley. He hasn't. I don't think he's played a game for them yet, or he might have played in the cup. I don't know.
He's played 2 games, I think. Yeah, it's only 2 games. 2 games. So
yeah. In Trafford, doesn't it? Who obviously Muric replaced. And then secondly, Walton, obviously he's got 1 game Premier League experience against Liverpool. Did a reasonable job. The expectation on him for that game would have been low. I think we're all expecting a big loss there. So, 2-0, we can say he performed admirably, but it's one game. It's not a lot of data to judge him on. And I think if you look across the piece, yes, Muric has undoubtedly been at fault for some goals, but you can also say that the defenders should take some share of the blame as well for not stopping the cross, or perhaps not getting as tight from a marking perspective. And he has pulled off some fantastic saves. So for me, I think he has to stay. And I think obviously Kieran McKenna spent the money on him. All the noises he kind of made in the press conference point towards that he's going to stick with him. I just think the positives outweigh the negatives, and hopefully, René Gilmartin is working on, the psychology kind of things, and being calm. And another Premier League goalkeeper, maybe I can liken it to Jordan Pickford. He used to be quite erratic and very prone to the extremes, and then he worked with a psychologist and got his head straight, and he performed fantastically. Saving penalties in the Euros or the World Cup. Anyway, he worked with sports psychologists, and it did wonders in terms of calming him down. Those moments where you have to really think about what you're doing, and it proved effective. So all I can hope is that they're working with him behind the scenes on that sort of thing. He's a great shot stopper. So for me, I think as painful as those mistakes are, and have been on occasions, I think he still has to stay for me.
Okay, then. So that's an argument for him to stay. I've got some great thoughts in the chat. Obviously, this is from Russ Robertson. Evening, guys. Russ in Great Yarmouth here. We have to win. I think for this Saturday. We've got also Ben from good old Sydney, very humid and hot Sydney. Good morning to you, Ben. Obviously, evening here in the UK. But yeah, Paul Cook, former Dale manager, Paul Clark, Muric to stay. It's too late to risk on Walton, and that sort of segues Jamie onto you then, because you are potentially wanting to see Walton maybe start instead of Muric. Where's your argument here, and let us know.
Well, if we just look at some of the points that have just been made there, so I agree with a lot of the things that were said. Overall, as a goalkeeper in a team, you need stability. You can't just have chaotic change. You have to have that stability. And I think since the start of the season, we've had that. We've seen that. There's been a lot of mistakes that Muric has made, but he's also saved us. I mean, the Brighton game, I was at that game. Some of the saves he made was incredible. When it had Delap's shot gone in, we'd have won the game when we probably didn't deserve to. So that was a fantastic point. He saved us that. But I've just written down a few pointers here. So correct me if I'm wrong on these, but looking at the points he's cost us versus the points he saved us, this is a bit literal, I know, and it's not quite like that in real life. But I was looking, I put 3 points he cost us against Bournemouth. That's controversial because maybe the second goal wasn't his fault. The Man United game, I thought he should have done better with their goal. So he cost us a point there. Or 2 points there, I should say. Brentford, Roscoe, we were right there, weren't we? He cost us the 2 points there. And then I put the question mark against Man City. I'm not sure whether we'd have gone on to get a point in that game had he have not made those mistakes. So overall, there's a lot of points that he's cost us compared to what he's saved us from. And I think the stat that came out this week was he's cost us more goals and points than any other player in the Premier League. That's one of the stats I saw, or one of the statements I saw this week. So for me, that's quite damning. Here we are. What is it? 15 games in now. He's had a really good chance to impose himself in goal. Giving him that confidence after the Brentford game, I think, was really important. After that game, I said, players have to take responsibility for themselves. They are responsible to say, right, that wasn't good enough. I need to do better, because there's only so much the manager can do. However, we're now at a point in the season where, having sat behind that goal on Sunday against Bournemouth, 87 minutes on the clock, thinking we can hold on to this, to then 7-8 minutes later to have lost the game because of another glaring mistake, for me, needs to be addressed. And to address that in a high-performing league with a team of elite footballers at that level where points cost money, there has to be big decisions taken. And I think we're now at that crossroads. He's been very inconsistent for me. The mistakes he's made have cost us, and they outweigh the ones where he's saved us points. So for me, what I'd like to see is a change tomorrow. I'd like to see Walton given his chance. He's obviously training at the very top level with Muric, so their system of play will be similar. The Liverpool game, I thought Walton played really well. He looked good with the ball at his feet. He had a sound game. He wasn't at fault for the 2 goals. And I think we could talk for ages about him being unlucky last season when he got injured at the start, and then Halaki getting in. So for me, it's time for a change. Any other player on the pitch would be dropped for the same mistakes. So I think it's time to do that.
Yeah, such a hard decision to make, because it is, only one. There's only one player can play there, and obviously, Walton was unlucky last year because of that injury, and Lackey just had a season of his life. Bainesy, you got any other questions to chuck at Jamie with his argument? And
the only other thing I thought, and I agree with lots of that, and it is an incredibly tough decision. Kieran McKenna's paid all that money to make the tough decisions, and if he believes that's the right one, then obviously I'll support him, because I think Walton is a great keeper. The only thing I'd say is another thing to chuck into my side of things is the defence has changed consistently, but I think that's been part of the injuries as well. But that's a small thing. I think, to be honest, that unit, you've got to think of it as not just Muric. I think you've got to think of it as defence and the keeper. Think of it as a defensive unit as a whole. But I agree. I mean, it is hard. He has made some really costly errors, but he has pulled off some good saves. But I think ultimately McKenna will stick with him. So yeah, we shall see. If there's a few more errors, then maybe I'll be swayed a little bit more. But for me, I think just keep it as it is at the moment. Consistency is really key. So I think for me, that's why he should stay.
Because at the moment for me, it's like it's outweighing the good saves, but also mistakes. It's the scale now where it's just potentially. So I'm currently just Muric still in, because we have spent that amount of money on him, and I think for Walton to get chucked in, in a very big game like this, it's difficult. But we shall see, Jamie. Any other arguments you want to throw out, or we'll obviously discuss the lineup shortly. But yeah, it's an interesting one.
No, I mean, what would be ideal with him to have an absolute stormer tomorrow, play out of his skin, pull off some incredible saves, be really good with the ball at his feet, and he then goes on to build on that. That would be perfect. I mean, I don't want to dig him out. I don't think it's fair to single players out and just be critical of them in isolation. I think there's a bigger picture. Of course, we talk about the changes in the defence. I mean, that can't be good for a goalkeeper. 1 minute you've got 2 people, 2 centre-halves in front of you. The next minute, one's in, one's out. And then that, and especially with the fullbacks as well, that on the right side, that's what he had 3 different fullbacks, right backs this season.
Yeah.
So there's been that inconsistency in front of him as well. So I do understand. I know there's a lot of people that would disagree with me, but also there's an awful lot of people that would agree with me. Personally, just take a chance on Walton. Let's go with it and stick with that. Whatever decision's taken, though, at this time of the season, has to be the one that is the consistent one moving forward. So if he sticks with Muric, stay with him. If he puts Walton in, stay with him.
I think to be honest, judging social media, which is obviously not a great thing to do, but I feel like I'm in the minority, and I think a lot of people want change. So look, I wouldn't be against it if that's what he feels is best. That's what he feels is best. But yeah, I think I might be in the minority judging on social media. I might be wrong.
But the majority of people would think that he'll probably start.
Yeah. Like you said, Jamie, we don't want him to do badly. We want want him to do well. If he has as you said, the ideal situation is he has a fantastic game, then it lays all the concerns to rest. But there are concerns, absolutely. But yeah, hopefully he has a stormer tomorrow and proves, why he needs to be there. Otherwise, Moulton's there as a dependable backup.
You never know. Moulton could have a stinker. If he comes in, he could have a stinker as well. So, Moulton's a good goalkeeper. But yeah, McKenna obviously has come out probably and backed Muric. I think he's going to, because obviously he spent a lot of money on him. But it'll be very interesting to see what he will do tomorrow. So yeah, I think that's a good way to move on, boys. Because another big talking point is we're 15 games in now. Only one win out of those 15 games. But obviously we've been in a lot of these games. We're drawing games as well. But where are you both at in terms of where Town is? The name or the word, R word, could get chucked out a little bit. Relegation. Are you worried? Is it too early to worry about staying up? Obviously, this league is so difficult. The gap between the Championship and Premier League is getting bigger and bigger every season. You saw last season, the 3 teams who got promoted went straight back down. Southampton, obviously, they're struggling. Surprisingly, they've still got Russell Martin in charge, even though Leicester obviously got rid of Steve Cooper. Wolves, obviously, Gary O'Neill we'll get onto shortly. He's still, El Sakiko, he's still there after the West Ham game. But yeah, Jamie, I'm going to start with you to start this argument. Where are you at? How are you feeling after 15 games? And, you're not thinking of that word just yet?
No, I'm not. And I don't think anybody should be. I think, obviously, looking at where we've come from in such a short period of time, nobody thought we'd be sat here maybe 18 months ago talking about staying up in the Premier League, would we? So the first thing I would say is I'm surprised that we haven't won at least 3 games. I thought coming into the Premier League would take a few teams by surprise. I actually think that the Premier League's taken us by surprise a little bit. I think, obviously, with the significant amount of players that McKenna signed, I know Luke Chambers has referenced this in some of the things that he's been talking about, with the amount of players that he's brought in to try and embed them into the team and get them playing in the system that we were so successful doing last year is really, really tough. Whether he's had long enough to do that, he probably hasn't. So what I would say is that we've had some really good moments. We've had some really, really good moments where things have happened that you actually look at the team set up, and like the Brentford game being 2-0 up, we should have won that game. There's no way we should have lost that. But we should have gone in half time 2-0 up, come out, won the game 3-1, perhaps 3-2. Things like that, a bit of naivety. So for me, if we can just get our heads on, holding on to those leads, because we are still a danger and a threat going forward, especially with Delap, who's been absolutely incredible pretty much every game he's played, as well as Hutchinson coming stronger as the season's gone on. I think we've got a good chance of staying up. What we can't allow ourselves to be in a position of is being adrift after tomorrow's game, which I think could be, would it be 7 points if we lose and Palace win? Would that be a 7-point gap then? I think that's right. So if we are 7 points adrift tomorrow, then it's going to be really tough to see where we're going to claw that back. And even if we start doing well, like Burnley did last season, towards the end of the season, started winning a few more games, that gap could be too big to us to reel in. So at the moment, I'm confident that we've still got enough in us, with perhaps a few additions in the new year, to give it a good run. Realistically, if we're in the same position come mid-January, then I think we really have to be realistic and focus on where we're going to be next season.
Yeah, it is, as you mentioned, the 7 points. So if we obviously lose and obviously Palace wins, so we don't want that gap getting bigger and bigger. So evening, guys, from David, who's a regular viewer. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Is David, you're in Dublin, aren't you? In Ireland, somewhere in Ireland. Hope it's Dublin. Let me know. Let me know. Bainesy, where are you at there, my friends? Remember when we first started doing this fan social, we were on League One. I saw you different grounds in League One, and I remember seeing it. I think it was actually Bristol Rovers away when we drew 0-0 the Valentine's night. I think you were there.
And Burton. I mean, you talk about Louis Barry play that game. Now he's tearing up for Stockport. But yeah, I think either way, whatever happens this year, we've won, because the financial, aspect of promotion and the Premier League is so lucrative, and we've obviously been able to sort of tool up with very saleable assets. Hutchinson, Delap, they've produced in the Premier League. The price is going to shoot up. Leif Davis obviously will make a very good profit on him, and even Kieran McKenna. That'll be what a few million there. So we've won either way. I think the difficulty we have is we're coming up against teams who have been established in the Premier League for a long time and have had that money for a long time. I mean, take Wolves tomorrow. I mean, they really can't go down. I mean, how long have they been in the Premier League now? Must be what, 10, 12 years, something like that. So you imagine all that money, all that time they've had to build. And then there's us who've gone from a double promotion in League One and they're still relying on players who have taken us from League One. Obviously, they were better than League One. But that growth in such a short space of time has made things more difficult. But I think overall, I think we've been really competitive in games. We've had some fine margin losses. I mean, think back to 3 weeks ago when we really should have won at Leicester. We beat Spurs and drew with Man United. I mean, you would not have thought that in your wildest dreams. When the season started. So for me, we've been competitive. It's still tight-ish down the bottom. I think if we get a result tomorrow, that'll bring back the good feeling going into what is not a particularly nice run over the next few games. But I just thought you can't think about relegation. It took 22 years to get here. You can't spend the entirety of the Prem and the entirety of your time, if you got a season ticket at Portman Road or away games, thinking, well, why am I bothering? We're going to get relegated anyway. Enjoy it. Hopefully, if we did go down, we'd have enough money to really build, and we would be a contender to be promoted. But equally, it could be another 20 years. So just enjoy it. Enjoy watching, those great players. And enjoy the away games. There's so many other teams in the lower leagues, in Championship, League One, even League Two, who have been in the Premier League and have slipped and haven't been able to get back. So yeah, just enjoy it. I think you can't talk about relegation yet. It's far too early. We've been competitive in games, which is good. I think if we have a really strong January, that could really boost things. Obviously, injury-wise, we're top of the charts, aren't we? I think it's us and Brighton. I think Brighton is slightly worse, so that hasn't helped us at all. So hopefully, we have a really strong January, like we have in the last couple of seasons. No one expected us to get promoted last year. We did. Valentine's Day, League One against Bristol Rovers, the 0-0. We all thought it was over, and it wasn't. So I think just have some belief. The worst thing we could be is, for things to turn toxic and for people to think we're relegated already. We just got to get behind the team, get behind McKenna, and trust that we can stay up. And if it's not, enough and we can't, then we know we've tried everything. But yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as I can, which is what I've told the missus. In order to get to more games, I was like, it could be another 22 years. It could be, my God, nearly late 50s. That would be. So that's not worth thinking about. So yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy the rise.
Yeah. The thing, Jamie, as well, we're not getting battered, are we? Like you see, like last year, Sheffield United were getting battered. Oh, they lost like 6. Did they lose 7-1 one week? That's what they lost.
Yeah.
Was it 8 actually? Something crazy.
8. Was it 8?
Yeah.
They were getting battered every week.
Yeah.
So on that point, what I would say is we haven't been. I mean, West Ham did a job on us, didn't they? We were terrible in that game, and Everton at home was 2-0, but we weren't good at all. The other games, I think we've done really well. Even at Man City, I mean, I just think about that Man City game. I think about the penalty that we didn't get given, the penalty they were given, and the 2 Muric mistakes. We could have held on for a point, but what I saw on Sunday was we seemed to just, I don't know, I wouldn't say capitulated, but we just, when they scored, when they equalised, it felt like we were going to lose. I felt like we might concede again. And when they did score their second goal, I could feel the negativity around the stand. I could feel it. And when I was leaving and talking to a couple of my mates as we were walking out, there was a lot of people saying it was awful. We shouldn't have lost the game. We didn't deserve to win the game. Bournemouth were the better team, all this kind of stuff. But what people weren't focusing on was the 87 minutes where we really did compete with them. And we really did have a few chances that perhaps on another day we should have taken. The thing that I did notice as well is last season, our substitutions were our strength. We would, at 60, 65, 70 minutes, McKenna would bring on 2, 3, 4 subs, and it would make us more dynamic. We'd become suddenly more attacking. We'd turn teams round and we'd go for the jugular. If we were losing, we always felt like we were going to score. If we were winning, we felt like we might score more. Whereas now, I don't always think we feel like that, and it doesn't appear as apparent to me. Bringing Jack Clark on, for example, he looks like he's lacking a bit of confidence. Bringing him on, I don't think he's going to actually go and inspire us to win a game. He's not going to come on and do something spectacular. Whereas we had that last year, so I think that's missing too. That will obviously come with time with new players. Those impact subs from the bench. Obviously, we've got Al Hamidi that came on. Love him to death, works his socks off, done so well. But to be playing in League Two earlier this year to now being in the Premier League, expected to come on and hold the ball up, get in between the lines, maybe try and take a chance. He really isn't the player that we've got. So we just need to stay positive on that. Look to January, see if we can make some additions and keep moving forward. And if, as we've said now, if it does mean that we end up in a position where we look like we might go down, we have to use that to keep moving in the right direction. We can't see that as a negative, and we can't allow toxic attitudes to creep in, because that will do nobody any good. And there's no reason why people should have a toxic attitude towards it.
Yeah, I think the problem is that we've just been used to winning football matches week in, week out, scoring loads of goals. But, I'm enjoying it, being in the Premier League. Maybe not the VAR and all that other bits and bobs, but just to experience seeing some of these superstars in the flesh. It's been, been great fun, even though we haven't won many games. But I've got a question here from good old David from Dublin. I was right, very happy. He said, if Delap got injured or suspended before Jan, would you play Smodics or Broadhead up front? We've had this debate before, but get some fresh heads on here. Jamie Baines, what's your thoughts on that?
I would prefer to see Smodic in a more central role anyway. Mm-hmm. So I would give him a chance. I mean, all them goals he scored last season in the Champ, Blackburn fans was on a forum I saw some weeks back saying, why aren't Ipswich playing him more central? Because Ireland play him sort of more on the left, sort of inside left role, don't they, rather than that central 10 role. So why don't we try that? I'd go him and I'd have Broadhead somewhere else. I wouldn't put Broadhead up ahead of him, especially now after Broadhead's been out for so long. Smodic is your man for that.
Yeah, and someone said actually Paul Cook. I keep saying Paul Cook, Paul Clark. Time to try Broadhead out on the left. Thoughts on that, Bainesy, and also Smodics and Broadhead up front.
Yeah, I agree. Smodics for me, because Broadhead hasn't played enough, and I think Smodics' record in the Championship speaks for itself. And I think I've been really impressed with Smodics so far. I wasn't completely sold when he came in. I thought he wasn't the type of signing we normally go for, but I think he's been fantastic. And the great thing is he's just one of those real kind of pest players who'll literally run people down. He'll chase the ball, and I think if you put him up front, I think that's a better option than Broadhead and Al Hamidi as well. Again, I love Al Hamidi. I think he's fantastic. His story, his narrative, everything is brilliant. But again, it shows our injury problems that we're relying on him to come off the bench when he was playing League Two football in January. But yeah, I'd start him up front. But fingers crossed he doesn't get injured, and fingers crossed he doesn't get suspended. Just think positive. That's what I'll go for.
Yeah, because obviously Sam Walls is one away from a suspension. I think even Amari Hutchinson is as well. So hopefully they don't get that. I think the cut-off is in a few more games. So we shall see, boys. I was going to do the strike now, but I've haven't put the ticker up. So we're going to have to go into Wolves preview, and then we'll do the strike to end the podcast. So don't worry, we've still got the strike. Don't worry, we've still got that. We'll end the podcast with the strike. But let's segue into Wolves, because obviously the big talking point is the starting 11. But let's talk about Wolves, Jamie. As a team, they're struggling. They are struggling indeed. Gary O'Neill has still got the job, despite losing against West Ham. They've had not a good season. 2 wins, 3 draws, 10 defeats. Conceded 38 goals, which is the most goals in the Premier League this season. How are you feeling for this one? And as a team, Wolves, they've got some good players. They've got Cunha up top. Players who obviously they've got a lot of Brazilians and Portuguese players because that connection there. But as a whole, how are you feeling for this Wolves game? Must win, 6-pointer, chuck all them out, massive game, all that.
Yeah, well, that word or those words, must win game, have been bandied around for some time with us now. I don't think this is a must win game. It's a very winnable game. However, it will be under extremely difficult circumstances. Wolves, as you say, their run of form's been shocking. They've had more inconsistency than us. We've had a lot of draws. We've been able to claw those points to get us up to 9, whereas they really have struggled. I mean, every time they seem to sort of look like they're going to win a game, they end up like sort of dropping the points and losing it. I think for me, I just don't understand why the manager would come out and make that statement about the change of captain as well. There's obviously something that's gone on behind the scenes, and to dig your sort of captain out in public at this stage of the season when you're struggling shows there's clearly some unrest at that club. Now, whether that's the manager who is obviously under pressure, trying to deflect that pressure from himself onto one of his players and saying, "Well, hold on a minute, it's not down to me because I'm not doing." He's probably not doing anything different to what he was doing last season with the team. So he's probably saying, "Well, look at my players. They're the people that are responsible for us being in this position." But as we all know, good managers try to take the heat off their players and maybe put it on themselves. There's no suggestion that O'Neill's not a bad manager, but there's obviously unrest there. So anything can happen. We could probably turn up tomorrow and there'll be an average side, they'll be disjointed, the crowd will be straight up against them. You know, we have a couple of chances, pin them in their half for the first 10 minutes, maybe nick a goal. I think we'll see the crowd get on their backs and then we've got a good chance. And I think if we do take the lead, certainly if we were to go by some miracle, I don't know if it'd be a miracle, but some luck, we go 2-0 up in the game, then I think, you know, there's a good chance we could get a really positive result. But I just can't call it. I just don't know.
Okay, well, Bainesy, what your thoughts on Wolves? Going to bring up the last 11 against West Ham. Obviously, they've got some, as I said, a lot of Gomez's. They've got 3 Gomez's in their team: Totti Gomez, Rodrigo Gomez, who came off the bench, and also João Gomez, who's actually suspended for this game, so he won't be playing because he got 5 yellow cards. Obviously, got Cunha, as I mentioned, been scoring a lot of goals. Stroud Larson as well, getting goals. Doherty's been in this league for a while as well, former Spurs man. But yeah, how are you feeling going to this one?
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. I mean, you look at that, you know, that's building over a number of consecutive years. You know, it'll be really difficult if Wolves did go down. I mean, you look at Sunderland as perhaps a potential comparison. They still haven't gone back up. You know, a lot of people, you know, lost their jobs because of Sunderland. A lot of players left. It's incredibly difficult to get yourself back to the Premier League. So I think the pressure is very much on them tomorrow. They'll see this as a win, a way to possibly, you know, get things back on track. But equally, you know, the captaincy change. You know, people under pressure do crazy things. And you know, as Jamie said, if we can turn the crowd early, then that'd be a massive positive, and just kind of kill off the game if we could. But yeah, I think I agree. It's not must win. It's a good opportunity to win. But I think as long as we had a really solid performance, that'd be good enough. You know, even a point away. I know we've been drawing a lot of games, but points away are good. I'm still hopeful that we'll win tomorrow. I think it's toxic enough that we could perhaps get a win, and perhaps there is some unrest with the captaincy change. So yeah, I've score wise, I'm going for 2-1 Ipswich in hope, but it's the hope that kills you. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Okay, gone too soon though there, Bainesy. I was going to do predictions in a bit.
Terribly sorry.
It's fine. You know, get everyone involved in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know your predictions. But we're going to get into the Town 11 going to time. So we're talking about Muric. Bainesy and Jamie are on different wavelengths, but they're obviously accepting the arguments as well. But are we going to agree? We're going to go through the lineup as 11. Muric in goal, Walton in goal. What do you reckon, boys? Let's do it with thumbs. Muric, what
are you asking? Are you asking who we want or who we think?
I think maybe who you think, because who we want, we'll probably want, you know, players who are not injured, like Bene. I like him to see start, but he's obviously injured. Hurst be on the bench. But yeah, so Muric, do you reckon, boys? McKenna will stick? We've had this argument already. Yeah, okay. Ben Johnson obviously come back. Do you reckon? Yeah. And no argument there with like bringing in Harry Clark or anything. You happy with Ben Johnson?
No.
Okay. Darragh O'Shea, Karen Burgess, them as a duo been well. No Jacob Greaves then. Obviously, Greaves had a great start to the season. Any argument there for bringing them back in, or are you happy with those two as a duo, O'Shea and Burgess?
It's the consistency thing. Keep the team consistent. He should come back in when there's an opportunity to come back in. at the right time, not just for the sake of it. He's an incredible player, but how many games is he out? Was he out for 6 games, something like that? So yeah, keep it as it is.
Okay, no problem. Lee Davis, we all know he's set in stone. Obviously, we all know Sam Moore's set in stone as well. But his partner in that midfield, we've got a few options. Obviously, Jack Taylor started, as you saw there against Bournemouth. Jens Kues has had a fantastic few months, hasn't he? He won Player of the Month for November. Obviously, got dropped out for this one because obviously it's 3-game week. Obviously, you've got Calvin Phillips just still nursing that injury, and obviously Massimo Luongo's still there. You know, he's still here. He's still the Aussie. But who are you going with? Taylor, Kues, Phillips, Luongo? What do you reckon, boys? Bainesy, who's your pick?
Hughes, for me, I think he's looked fantastic. He's such a great player. I think if we stay up, the money we'll pay for him will be an absolute steal. So yes, it's Hughes for me. But honourable mention for Taylor, did a fantastic job. Again, another fantastic story. You know, come from League One to the Premier League. Was he League One, or am I misremembering that? Yeah, it was League One. Yeah, League One. Yeah. So he did a great job. But yeah, Hughes, fantastic. Been so impressed with him. You know, great passer. Looks really cool and calm. And you know, great defensively as well. So yeah, Hughes for me.
Okay, Jamie, you're the same.
Agree, 100% with that. He was incredible at Tottenham. He played well against Man United. Well, didn't he? We all saw that live on Sky. If he weren't at the game, yeah, for me, it's a given. He should start.
Okay, so that's set in stone. Then Morsey, Hughes, boom, partnership rekindled for this game. Then the forward 4. Obviously, we all know Delap. He's going to start, so we don't have to muck about with that. But then it's the 3. Hutchinson, Chaplin, Smodic start. Where are we going to go? Jamie, you're going on about Smodic's going into the middle. Would you want him there? But obviously, Chaplin scored last time out as well.
You'd only make that change if you had to now. I can't. You can't do it now. If there was a forced move, I'd say put him in there. But no, I would have Chaplin in that 10 and have Smodic on the left, same as the Bournemouth game.
Okay, Bainesy, are you the same with that 4 there? Like Jack Clark.
Yeah, exactly the same. Tuesday's the only change I'd make. I think consistency is really important if we want to start building results. We need to keep a consistent team. So yeah, for me, the only change is Taylor. That's it.
Do you know what? McKenna hasn't got much headaches, really, has he? You know, I think obviously he got the Muric headache, but that's obviously his decision. But
not out of choice, though, is it really?
No,
I think he'd like a bit more of a headache if people weren't injured. But yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is. Just getting a few comments here. David here from Dublin. He's brought Broadhead in his team, or Broadlead. Oh, hey. That's the only change I can see here. So yeah, Broadhead's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, when will he get that chance? Obviously, he came off the bench against Palace, but obviously it was unused sub against Bournemouth, but obviously he's not defensively, he's not great, is he, Broadhead? Attacking, he's brilliant, but defensively, he's not good. But then Jack Clark's not, he's the same. So, you know, when do you reckon Broadhead will get that chance, Jamie?
I think realistically, when there's an injury, it's a forced opportunity. I can't see him getting in the team. With that 4 we've just spoken about, and with the other options we've got on the bench, I just don't see it. I mean, I loved him in the Champ. I thought he was superb. And it was such a shame he got injured, because he could have had a little, you know, sort of running the team in the Premier League from the start of the season. But I just can't see it. I don't really know what to say. I just can't see where he'd fit in.
Yeah. It's very true. Yeah, because once again, you spent a lot of money on Jack Clark, so you're going to have to start him at some stage. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'll do maybe a loan move potentially, but then that I think that straight away, that's him out of the door potentially long term as well, because you get loaned out. Yeah, but then if we, I won't mention that. I was about to say something, but yeah, we'll stop that. Okay then, boys. Any other thoughts for this one? Jamie, we ain't got your score prediction. So Bainesy went 2-1. I'm going for 2-1 as well. It's heart over head this week. Sam Morsey, I said, to score first because he's born in Wolverhampton, so his hometown club. Got released as a youngster. He'll go there and go, look what you could have won. But yeah, Jamie, your prediction, my friend.
So I'm going to go out for 2-0 win, which is going to be the start of our 3-game winning streak over the Christmas period.
We're going to beat Newcastle.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the reason we're going to beat Newcastle is I'm taking my dad to the game. He's a Newcastle fan.
Oh.
So, and I've not been to football with my dad for decades. So we're going to beat them, and we're going to pull off. I'm joking. We're not going to beat Arsenal.
You completely forgot, didn't you?
No, I've got the ticket. Look, I've got the ticket right here. My match ticket
Okay.
for Arsenal was right in front of me.
Yeah, nice.
The
That's
27th.
good. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one against Arsenal, but yeah, going to the Emirates should be a good one. But there we go, all glory. Look at that, the Emirates. It's been a while since we've been there. Obviously, the League Cup back in 2011. But yeah, I think that's all. I think there's nothing else to cover from the Wolves game, is there, boys? I don't think it's just the strike which connects to the Wolves game, and I'm also going to predict the Premier League predictions for the weekend fixtures. Hopefully, no games gets postponed. Obviously, the Everton Liverpool game did because of Storm Dara. But let's bring up the strike. Get involved in the comments. Going to make sure I get rid of one of the answers that was in the question, which I've done many times before. But it is going to be, yeah, very much so. But yeah, it's Jamie versus Bainesy to find out who will be the strike champion this week. Get involved in the comments, share your thoughts, your predictions. As ever, I've got 300 people joining us live, which is great to see. Hope you're having a very good Friday evening in a cold evening. I was very cold. But yes, let's get the show on the road. It's strike time. And we're going to start off with question one is how many times have Town won at Molineux Stadium in 38 league games? So 38 league games at Molineux Stadium, which is a good stadium. I like Molineux. It's not bad. It's not a bad stadium. Not bad at all. Getting involved as well in the comments. Sol, Better Cole Sol's involved. He's going, Delap will score tomorrow. Yes, he will, mate. Been impressed with Chaplin. Definitely Amari on the right. So, yeah, let's see. Solomon Harris has gone 4 defeats on the trot, Sally, and no points until Jan versus Man City. Oh, yeah, Man City not doing very well, are they? Let's see then. How many wins do you reckon then, boys? Show me your answers and let's see. If you're good at bang on, by the way, you get double the points. So 2 points. Let's see. All right, then. What do you reckon?
13. No, I can't see it.
13. Unlucky for some.
16.
16. Gone
I
high.
had 16. I was like, no, it can't be that many. So I went less optimistic.
Okay. David from good old Dublin's gone 4. Simon's gone 10. David's actually the closest because it's only 6 wins. 6 wins. 16 draws, though, and 16 defeats. So you're on the same thing there, Jamie. But yeah, 6
completely
wins.
Miles off, Roscoe. You're being nice to me.
Sorry. Bainesy does get the point, though, because he's the closest in terms of you two. That is starting off there. Question 2 is on David Johnson because he scored on his Town debut at Wolves when he obviously back in 1998. But how many goals did he score for Town in 158 games? So David Johnson, the second David Johnson. Obviously, David Johnson, rest in peace, was legend of the Town team in the 70s and 80s. Obviously, David Johnson, who was part of the team that got promoted to the Premier League back in 2000. But yeah, scored on his Town debut after signing from Bury. How many goals do you reckon, boys? And if you get it bang on, as I said, 2 points. So Jamie, you could potentially take the lead here if you get it bang on. But yeah, good old Jono. Different hairstyles. Love that. Of course, had a blue hair for the Wembley 2000, but then come off injured, unfortunately. But what do you reckon, boys? Show me your answer.
50.
48.
48. So 158 games. He scored 62 goals. So decent ratio, really. What's that? 62 in 158 games. Is that 1 in 3, maybe? Or something like that?
They're more than 1 in 3.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. My maths, I'm not very good at maths, so, But my maths is that Bainesy is 2-0 up, so I know that. So this is, Jamie, got to get back into it now. Get back in the game. Question 3 is which Town player has scored the most goals against Wolves throughout the years? There's 3 options. It's Colin Viljoen, South African, remember him, John Walk, or Paul Mariner. So 3 attackers, pretty much. John Walk, of course, the midfielder, turned defender back in the day. But yeah, against Wolves, who scored the most amount of goals against them? Obviously, he played Wolves many, many times through the years. Who scored the most goals? Who do you reckon, boys? Bainesy, what do you reckon?
Good old Paul Marnier.
But yeah, there you go. It's fine. And then Jamie?
I've gone for Walkie.
Ooh, Walkie. Well, you're both wrong. It's actually Colin Viljoen. You've got to back the legend that is Colin Viljoen. He scored a lot of goals back in the 60s for Town and 70s. So no points. So 2-0 going into question 4. Let's see quick answers here. David and Simon went for Walkie, to be fair. So, yeah. Sol said, I'm based in New Zealand. Hard to get up early. Which, fair play to you, Sol. Fair play, yeah. But, yeah, worldwide, which is great to see. 330 people joining us. Love to see that. Question 4. Jamie's still in the game because this is a double pointer. Christoph Berra. Obviously played for both teams. Obviously signed for Town on a free transfer from Wolves. What a bargain that was. How many goals did he score for Town in 185 games in all competitions? Of course, him and Tommy Smith had a battle, didn't they, to see who could score the amount of goals from set pieces and stuff. But yeah, what do you reckon, boys? This is a big chance here for Jamie to get double the points. 2-0 Bainesy at the moment. Let's see if Jamie can get it. Double the points. Or closest. He'd make it 2-1 going into the final question.
Shocking.
It's fine, mate. It's fine. It's fine. What do you reckon then? Let's start with you, Jamie.
I've gone 9.
9, okay. Bainesy?
Gone 15, a little more optimistic.
Ooh, 15. Someone is one off. And sad to say, Jamie, that is Bainesy because it's 14 goals. So it's 3-0 and there's no chance of catching up now. But we do have obviously a tiebreaker and, depends if Bainesy wants to gamble. But we've got question 5.
Last goal wins. Last goal wins.
Yeah, true. True. But question 5. Question 5 is on Mark Venus. Good old Vino. Free kicks and all that. Formerly of Wolves as well. I actually signed for Town from Wolves. But how much was the transfer fee? Was it 150k, 200k, or 300k? Which back then is a bargain. Absolute bargain, Mark Venus. What a player he was.
Different economy, wasn't it, back then?
Yeah. Very much true. Very much so. Obviously, we're a first division club back then when it was the first division. But yeah, signed from Wolves. What was the transfer fee? 150k, 200k, or 300k? What do you reckon, boys? David.
I got 150. I think he would have been cheap because of his position.
Okay.
I might be doing him a disservice.
See? Yeah, Jamie?
I've gone 200. I've no clue.
Okay. We've got a few people. David's gone 2k. Simon's gone 2k. Brad's gone 300k. But the correct answer is 150k. Bainesy has made it 4-0.
You emailed him the answers before this.
Oh yeah, when I sent over the pod plan, it actually had the answers, but not for your. No, but Bainesy has won 4-0. But as always, there is an opportunity for a tiebreaker, and he could gamble. So let's see.
Yeah, last goal wins. Come on, stick on the last one.
Okay, well, Jamie, you have to get that bang on to take the crown, and it's on a. It goes from the Christmas past, and that is Mick McCarthy, of course, famously managed Wolves as well. As well as us, but I've leaned more between for us in terms of how many games did he win as Town manager in 279 games. How many of them were wins? So Jamie, to get it bang on, my friend. Obviously, there was a period where we did win a good amount of games, but then obviously the last 2 years there was a lot of draws and a lot of defeats. But there was a good period where we were winning a few games. But 279 games, how many wins? If you get it bang on, Jamie, you take away the crown this week. Play away, play at home, obviously. Bainesy get involved as well. Let's see what other people are saying in the chat. Let's see if
I just tried to do a little maths around it, percentages, but I might be completely wrong.
November 2012, he got appointed, and then he left in April, I think, or March 2017. No, 2018, sorry. I think it was April 2018. So a good period there, 279 games. Obviously, this counts as every game, like cup games. So we used to always lose cup games. So straight away, there's loads of defeats there. Obviously, league games as well. 46 league games, obviously, in the championship. So, Bainesy, start with you. Let's see what you're thinking. What do you reckon?
I went 84, so I went with 30% because I feel like he was around that maybe-ish. I think 30% is respectable, so I went 84.
Okay. All right, and Jamie. What do you reckon?
Well, I initially wrote 120. I've crossed that out and I've written 132.
Ooh.
Based on no logic other than just guessing.
Okay. I always say never change your answer because that could easily, that could have been the right answer.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to quickly get up his stats as total. So 96 defeats, 78 draws, 105 victories. So, Jamie, you are the closest, my friend, but you unfortunately didn't get bang on. But good effort. Very good effort indeed. In the chat, let's have a quick look. David went 78. Brad went 88. Simon went 97. Colin went not enough, unfortunately. Roscoe, yeah, very true. Yeah, probably didn't win as much as he really should have done back then. But yeah, good effort, Jamie. Just about.
Well done, Bainesy. Well done, Bainesy.
Speech, my friend.
Nah, it's luck. My strike win ratio will tell you it's all luck. So yeah, I was very lucky tonight. Friday the 13th is lucky for me, obviously.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that today, did I? Oh God. Didn't think of that Friday the 13th, if believe in that sort of stuff. Although, as I said, coming on record, the internet in 2 of my households didn't work. So that's why I'm actually recording this. Big shout out to my sister Jade. I'm currently in her house recording this. I wasn't going to say it, but as it links up to that, yeah. But brought you a live show, which is great to see. We're going to finish the show predicting the rest of the Premier League. So we're back in Ipswich Town to win this weekend. Obviously, it's a full fixture list in the Premier League, starting with there's no lunchtime game. There's no Friday night game either in the Premier League. So the first games are 3 p.m. kickoffs because there's normally a lunchtime kickoff, isn't there, on Saturday? But the first 4 games obviously includes our game. But then you've got Arsenal versus Everton. So, boys, Arsenal obviously, they're trying their best to get back to trying to fight for the title under Mikel Arteta. Everton obviously not had a bad run recently. Obviously they beat Wolves 4-0, but then lost 4-0 against Man United. So, 2 different row results there. But what do you reckon, boys? Jamie, start with you. Everton, Arsenal at the Emirates.
Yep, going for the obvious prediction. Arsenal win 2-0.
Okay, clean sheet there. Bainesy, what do you reckon? Arsenal favourites very much so in this one, but you never know. Sean Dyche going to the Emirates. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, 3-0 Arsenal for me.
Ooh, 3-0 Arsenal. Next up is Liverpool versus Fulham at Anfield. Obviously, Everton-Liverpool game last week got postponed, the Merseyside derby. So they've had a few. Oh, actually, no, Liverpool are obviously been in the Champions League this week, so they've not had a break of such. But they take on Fulham. Jamie, Fulham, a decent team, not a bad team. Fulham. Wolves actually beat Fulham 4-1 recently, so hopefully they don't do that against us. But yeah, Liverpool, Fulham. What do you reckon?
Yeah, for me, Liverpool win. I'd say that's going to be 2-1 Liverpool.
Okay, and I didn't look in the chat. Sorry, everybody. Just have a little look quickly now. Colin's gone 2-1 Ipswich Town win, just like us. Everyone's going 2-1. Arsenal 3-0. Arsenal 4-1 against Everton. Liverpool 2-1 against Fulham, and 3-1 Colin for Liverpool versus Fulham. Bainesy, what do you reckon?
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0, like that. Clean sheets for the home teams. Newcastle versus Leicester. Interesting game this. Obviously, Leicester will want to see if they can make it 3 games unbeaten because they've obviously won and drawn their last 2 games. Newcastle haven't won a game in the last 4, so they need to get a win on the road at some point. I know they did win the last game, didn't they? Scrap that. They did actually. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No. Ignore that. Jamie, before I go on a bit of a ramble here, what do you reckon?
It's a funny old one, this. Leicester can pull off a result there. I'm gonna say Newcastle to win. That's gonna be 1-0 Newcastle.
Okay. And yeah, it is definitely Newcastle without a win the last 4 games. I was just looking at the form guide and I was wondering where it starts and where it finishes. And it is definitely where it finishes in terms of they lost their last game, obviously. Okay, then Bainesy, what do you reckon? 2-1
Newcastle. It's another home win.
Yeah, back in the home team. Although you didn't obviously back Wolves to win because, which will be the first away win on Saturday. David's gone 3-0 Newcastle. Colin's gone Geordie's 3, Leicester City 1. Then the evening game, the 5:30 kickoff, Nottingham Forest versus Villa. A bit of a derby of such. Midlands sort of, I don't know if they would class it as a derby. I think it's more just,
Nottingham and Midlands, isn't it? So I think it's slightly...
Yeah. It's sort of like their neighbours. They're like, hello, probably just like, yeah, I'll give you...
There's much love lost between the 2 teams. I don't think they're fans of each other.
Okay, fair enough. But should be a good game. Forest obviously... doing pretty well. They're 5th. Aston Villa are 6th. They both won their last game last time out. Obviously, Villa had a bit of a bad run, didn't they? But they're sixth in the table. They're both on the same amount of points. So it'll be interesting to see how they both get on. At the City Ground, Jamie, what do you reckon?
After their impressive Champions League win in the week, Villa, and I think they're a better team. I think they've got better players. I think they play better football. I'm going to go for Villa 2-0 at Forest.
Ooh, okay. We've got 2-2 draws here from Colin and David Bainsey. What are you going for?
Draw 1-1. I think Forest have been really good this season, but equally, as Jamie said, Villa had a great result in the Champions League. But I think, Forest being at home, that's a bit of an advantage to 1-1.
Okay, then. Then we move on to Sunday. The first kickoff is at 2:00. Brighton versus Palace, and that is a derby, isn't it? Somewhat.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think it's a derby. Obviously, we need Palace to lose that one, just to make sure. Brighton obviously doing really well this year, seventh in the table, although they haven't won their last 3 games. Palace obviously are unbeaten in their last 4 games. Obviously, one of those was a win against us. What do you reckon, Jamie, in this derby? I don't know what they called this derby, like Suffolk Road derby.
Brighton 7, Palace 0. No, I think Brighton are just a really good team. Palace, unpredictable, inconsistent. I'm going to go 3-1 Brighton.
Okay, 3-1. Colin's gone 3-1 as well. David's gone 2-1. Baines, are you going to back another home team?
Yep, 2-1 2-1 Brighton. I think it's because obviously Crystal Palace is South London and then Brighton's South Coast, and I think you can get there pretty quickly from South London. So that's probably where the derby is. But yeah, hopefully Brighton do us a favour.
Okay, then. Then we've got the Manchester derby. I didn't even know that this was a thing this weekend. You know, sometimes these go under the radar. I remember I've got a few mates who are Man United fans, and I remember like I kept going to a pub to watch the Manchester derby, and they're always dull. They're always dull when I went and watched. So I was like, oh, that's probably why I forgot about it. But obviously, Man City, who are on obviously a bad run at the moment. Pep, bless him. Someone see how he's doing. Obviously, they won and drawn their last 2 games, but obviously lost in the Champions League. So no, they did lose. What do you reckon, Jamie? Man City are sitting in 4th in the table. They're now 8 points away from Liverpool, so they need to start winning games.
Yeah, they're going to bounce back. Man United are poor, inconsistent. They've got no real identity at the moment, Man United. Man City 2-0.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, Manchester derby, Bainesy, Ruben Amorim's first Manchester derby at the Etihad. David's gone 3-2. 5-5. Simon Harris, he said both awful. That would be good. I think Sky will be happy about that, seeing that on the telly. Colin's gone 2-2, so draw there. What do you reckon, Bainesy? We're going to see a draw? We're going to see one of the Manchester team win?
Yeah, same for me. 2-0 City. To be honest, I know you said they're 8 points off Liverpool, but I wouldn't even bet against them. Still win the league. There's still a long way to go. That might be quite nice odds wise if you want to maybe have a little punt.
Indeed. Then we've got some very weird fixtures up next. 7:00 on a Sunday. We've got Chelsea versus Brentford. Obviously, London derby there. Obviously, Chelsea are at Kakistan, obviously, on Thursday. So I think it was like a 16-hour round trip or something like crazy like that, or 16 hours trip. Obviously, Chelsea doing really well this year under Enzo Maresca. They're second in the table. They're 4 points away from Liverpool. They've won 4 in a row. Obviously, Brentford are a team who have done well themselves. They're 9th in the table. They score a lot of goals, but they're at Stamford Bridge. What do you reckon, Jamie?
Yeah, I agree that. Excuse me, they do score a lot of goals. If they're at home, I'd have more money on Brentford to win that because they can't stop scoring at home. However, Chelsea at Stamford Bridge have been really good this season. Chelsea win. I'm going to go 3-2 Chelsea.
Okay, then. David's gone 4-2 Chelsea, so goals in that one. What do you reckon, Bainesy?
3-0 Chelsea. I don't think I've ever seen a Sunday 7:00 kickoff.
There's 2. There's 2.
Yeah, that is a horrible. Whoever decided that, you are not a football fan or have had to travel to football because that's awful. I mean, just no, absolutely not.
Middle of winter as well, yeah.
Well. Like the Chelsea Brentford game's not too bad because obviously it's 2 London clubs, but then you've got Southampton Spurs up next, and obviously Spurs fans having their go to Southampton. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Simon Harris has gone 5-0. They did rest their whole squad on Thursday night. So even though they did that long trip to Kakistan, they rested most of their team. Obviously, Cole Palmer and a few other players, not even in the Europa Conference League squad because they're like, there's no point, even though they could potentially win that trophy. But yeah, Southampton Spurs. Obviously, Southampton are rock bottom. They are only 5 points this year. Spurs are just a weird team, aren't they? Very weird team. 2 defeats in a row. Only 2 wins in the last 5 games. What do you reckon, boys? Jamie, do you think Southampton could nick one there at home at St Mary's, or Spurs they're going to get back to winning ways?
This is a horrible one to predict, isn't it? Southampton are woeful, which, yeah, you've got to put your money on Spurs. I'm going Spurs 2-1. 2-1 Spurs.
Okay, then. Simon's gone. He's backing the Saints. He's gone 3-2 against Spurs. David's gone 3-1 against the Saints, and Colin's gone 3-0 Spurs at St Mary's. So, Bainesy, I think Southampton are very much, they're gone, aren't they? Do you reckon? Do you think it's too early to say that?
But it's early. I mean, whoever's backing Russell Martin, like, have a word with yourself, please. But yeah, Spurs to me 3-0. I think I'm very surprised Russell Martin's still in the job. I know obviously he got promoted, which was obviously great. But yeah, to have 5 points now after all these games. I mean, I know we're only on 9, but that's bad, So yeah, Spurs to me 3-0.
Okay, then. And the Monday night game, Bournemouth versus West Ham. West Ham got another Monday night game. They've got a whole week to rest after their win against Wolves, who have been playing, obviously, this weekend. What do you reckon then, boys? Bournemouth, who are doing very well indeed. West Ham, they're trying their best to get away from that relegation zone. They don't want to be brought into it. But yeah, Bournemouth are a good team. 3 wins in a row for them, especially, obviously, beating Town, that late winner. What do you reckon, Jamie?
Yeah, I was really impressed with Bournemouth. I think they're one of the better teams we've seen at Portman Road this season for sure. On form at the current time. I would say Bournemouth home win. I'm going 2-0 Bournemouth.
Okay, 2-0. What do you reckon, Bainesy?
Bournemouth win 2-1.
Okay, then. Everyone's back in Bournemouth as well. Colin, to be fair, Spurs did beat Man City 4-0. So, they're going to beat Southampton anyway. Do not worry, indeed. So that is the full fixture list. Thanks to everyone getting involved in predictions. And that is the show, I think. Any other business, though, from you boys? Jamie, what a debut, my friend. The strike. We'll forget about that. But I hope you've enjoyed. Any other business?
Thank you for having me on. It's been good to be part of it. I haven't seen you after many games. I've been, certainly Portman Road, been rushing off after the games. But I'll try and see you tomorrow. If you're going to be at Wolves, I'll try and come and say hello. But it's just been nice. So thank you very much. And well done on the podcast, mate. It's superb. So, yeah, and Bainesy, good luck, mate. And hopefully catch you at a game soon.
Tomorrow, maybe. He's at Wolves as well, Bainesy.
So, nice one. Yeah.
There we go. Like that. David just went, well done, Jamie. David.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Love that. And Bainesy, always a pleasure to have you on. Any other business from you?
Yeah, very good debut from Jamie. Yeah, definitely come back again, and I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. But yeah, cheers for having me, Roscoe, as always. Fingers crossed for 3 points tomorrow. I think that would really change and lift everyone's mood before 3 pretty difficult games. So yeah, up the Town.
Indeed, up the Town. We're all back in a 2-1 Town win. Hopefully that is the case for the Blues. Simon, thank you very much for joining us. Great show. Up the Town, indeed. And if you go into the game, enjoy. If not, follow coverage of us as always. And if you see me, Bainesy, or Jamie at the game, say hello. And we'll see you next time on the Kings of Anglia Fan Social. And if you haven't already, follow us on Kings of Anglia on all the socials. And also check out KOA 500, which brought back some old faces. And if you're bored on the way up, there's an hour and a half, a bit of content there to listen to. So check it out. But enjoy the game if you're going, as I said. And thanks again for watching. Bye for now.